why is it so critical to constantly do the credit monitoring for today's borrower? And how are your tools, like the ABCD tool, helping this, making it more easier?
A single missed credit card payment, it has happened to me, It was set up on an auto mandate for the Apple Store. Turns out that $500 grew to $6,000. It also impacted the score because I had it outstanding for 6 months. So it's not something that just affects, someone else out there, irrespective of how senior you may be, even within the financial services system.
Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. In today's episode, we shall be discussing how digital innovations are reshaping the financial empowerment for today's borrowers. Checking your credit profile is as essential as checking your bank account. And with digital tools that enable us, it is as easy as shopping on an e-commerce app. To dive deeper into this conversation, we have our special guest today, Ms. Bhargavi Sridharan from Aditya Birla Capital Digital. ABCD is a digital platform that helps consumers build stronger financial habits. Welcome, Bhargavi.
Hi, Shefali. Lovely to be here.
Pleasure to host you. I'll straight away dive into my first questions. How aware are today's consumers about CIBIL Score and report, and what are the biggest myths that you are seeing today?
So I think there's a lot of awareness of credit score today amongst borrowers. They are well read, and the internet has obviously helped folks learn about why a credit score is important. And there are a lot of platforms out there that do make the credit score available to the customer. Erstwhile it was quite esoteric and behind certain walls, but now it's democratically available to everyone. So I think yes, borrowers are indeed aware of credit score and are accessing it. What I do see is that there are a few myths though about the credit score. So for example, folks think that if you check your credit score, the D2C poll that we commonly call, right, which is a customer initiated poll, folks often think that their credit score will get impacted, so they shouldn't do it. On the flip side, there are also customers who don't realize that when they apply for a loan, there is a hard inquiry and their score does get impacted, or it gets sort of tagged against their name, right? I won't say the score is impacted, but it's definitely noted against their name that they've applied for a loan. So both of these, simultaneously exist in the market. Also, folks think that a credit score is needed only when you take a loan. But let's say certainly in BFSI employment, and I dare say in other sectors as well, the credit score matters when your employer is looking at your profile and assessing suitability, for their organization. So it matters there. The third thing that folks think is credit score, is largely determined by late payments or EMIs and the like. Here again, I think for that matter, for a long time, even I was not aware that other things such as, what is your credit mix, your credit history, how long you've been on the bureau, how much of your limit you have utilized. All of these are sub-elements that go into how your score is sort of constituted or composed. I think there is certainly a lack of awareness on these points, while I think people generally do know that credit score is important.
Sure, that's a great perspective. Thank you for bringing that up. Building on the same point, I would just want to also pick the point on terms of the digital innovation that are available today. So as we know that ABCD platform is a digital platform that not only provides the credit access to the consumers, but also help improve their financial health. So what according to you are the improved or enhanced consumer behavior in terms of the credit management?
So I think today's consumers world over, and more so in India, are extraordinarily used to everything being available at the fingertip. Often, at least in the matter of financial literacy, I think that's a good thing. So at ABCD, we of course focus on wellness of our customers, which is both financial wellness and health and wellness, because we have two insurance companies at Aditya Birla Capital as well. And we have made it possible for folks to check their credit score online. We have made it possible for folks to also get a selfie-based health score, just like that, right? It's literally a selfie-based health score. Get your vehicle score also. So for example, आपका अगर PUC या चालान कट गई, traffic violation or something, you can even see that. So I think platforms like ABCD and other popular platforms make it extraordinarily easy for the customer to have a quick sense of where they stand. And with regard to credit score in specific, we of course make access available, as I said to you earlier. That itself is the first step in sort of knowing your credit score and knowing how it's moving. The second thing is that there are nudges, right, which make it possible for you to learn that your score has changed. And it's possible that you missed an EMI payment, it's possible that you missed a credit card payment, and it could be for multiple reasons. It could be for simply the fact that you forgot to pay to something that you could not pay it, right? It's possible, but at least you're aware that your credit score has changed and your behavior has had an action, has had an impact on your score. The second thing that you also get to learn is that in platforms like ABCD, we have a credit score simulator. So for example, if you were to pay your loan or you want to improve your score, right, you say, how does this action impact my score? You can check that out. So you know that if you prepay, what happens? You know that if you, let's say, have a credit card limit of 5 lakhs and you end up utilizing 4.5 or 5 lakhs, what happens? So these are simulations that the customer can explore. So I think this also gives a better understanding of how your actions impacted in a proactive manner rather than retrospectively where you can do very little about it. I think we also support, and I'm sure the rules have come out requesting or sort of requiring that credit bureaus respond to customer queries with regard to loans reported on their against their name in the file and sort of act upon maybe wrong reporting and correct, right? Take into account customer input on those matters. So we also make writing to the bureau easier through our platform. Like if you're not happy with something you're saying, we give a pre-drafted email that allows the customer to write to the bureau, under the specific thing, to the specific email ID of the bureau, letting them begin that communication. Of course, they can continue it elsewhere, but they can begin that communication. So there are many ways in which access, awareness, actionable insight have all come together to make credit scores truly democratized for the customer, because it is finally for their benefit, right? We want everybody to have good scores and not default.
That's really very interesting, especially the selfie of health score and all that is really, really interesting. And I would say it's a classic example of how technology is providing more empowerment for a financial journey. Linking on that, our audience would also like to know that, why is it so critical to constantly do the credit monitoring for today's borrower? And how are your tools, like the ABCD tool, helping this, making it more easier?
So the credit score or the credit health of a person can change quite fast, right? Based on just the previous month's payment. And I think now the reporting to the bureau is more frequent than it used to be earlier. So the changes to your score are much faster, and I think staying abreast of your score is important. A single missed credit card payment, it has happened to me, I thought I had a credit card had closed, right? Its expiry period had run through. And I thought I had no outstandings on it. It was set up on an auto mandate for the Apple Store. And it was $500 really. It wasn't much. And I thought I had nothing due on the card because I had not swiped, right? It was a preset thing. And turns out that $500 grew to $6,000. That's a different point. It also impacted the score because I had it outstanding for 6 months and never noticed it. So I think monitoring credit score periodically is, in fact monthly if you can, is supremely important. It also allows you an early warning signal. It tells you if somebody else there's identity theft that you can sort of watch towards, or reporting errors, right? And after we've launched the credit score on the ABCD platform, some of our senior leadership, the CEOs at Aditya Birla Capital, one of the CEOs found that there was a loan in his name. That wasn't his loan actually. So it's not something that just affects someone else out there, irrespective of how senior you may be, even within the financial services system. These sort of errors can happen. So it helps you become aware of it, and it helps you write into the bureaus to correct it and take the necessary action. I think we can make it more fun. So for example, we wear our Garmin watches or whatever it is, and then we're tracking our, kitne steps hue, what are the calories we burned. And I've also made sure that my counter gives me a higher calorie burning counter.
Cheat.
I'm happier that way. But yeah, jokes aside, So sort of a regular fitness approach to it, rather than something that is done periodically, necessitated maybe when you're only intending to borrow. So I think bringing it more into common parlance and common behavior with tools like ABCD, and also incorporating it in your daily thing, right? So you get not just saying your score has changed. So that almost compels you to go and click and see what has happened. So I think it is important for individuals to be on top of it, and of course the tools that make it easier are all welcome.
Yeah, absolutely great point, I would say. And in fact, I would just summarize this, that making it as a habit, monitoring the credit should become a habit like any other thing. Like today we measure your steps and many other things. Similarly, it could be just a habit to measure. So great. Shifting gears a little bit, you'll agree with me that credit education is the first step of financial inclusion. And on those lines, I would like to know what are the initiatives that you would have taken to drive awareness on the credit health in Tier 2 and Tier 3 especially.
So I think credit score, financial inclusion, financial literacy is as important or perhaps more important in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities than in the large metros, because यहाँ पे काफ़ी awareness है और बहुत, there's a lot of access that folks have to to lenders across the tier and spectrum, serving all sorts of credit profiles. In smaller markets, we do a lot of financial literacy work, especially in the places where Aditya Birla Group companies or plants are present. Then we do, of course, you take the support of that ecosystem to outreach, and we have a lot of financial literacy and wellness sessions in such markets. What is crucial is that in the smaller markets, also there is a lesser number of salaried profile, if you will. So to that extent, access to credit for small businesses or self-employed professionals becomes more important and more reliant on the bureau score, as well as their other, of course, footprint and parameters. So better loan terms for such borrowers is crucial and relies on the credit score. I think easier approval and being eligible to borrow with a larger set of lenders, I think is also why a good credit score and awareness about the same and how to maintain it is important. And I think it creates that conversational trust, right? When a borrower walks in with a good credit score into a Tier 2, Tier 3 market, those markets are also more relationship led. So I think a good credit score combined with their local relationships enables lenders to sort of, and borrowers, to sort of include more people into the formal financial services spectrum.
Thanks. I think that's a great perspective, and credit awareness is something that really enables more of spreading the inclusive financial inclusiveness. On a related note, as we all know that today is the AI era that we all live in. We use a lot of AI tools today. What, according to you, would be few innovations or the trends that will shape up the consumer behavior in terms of the credit management in the next few years?
First and foremost, I think it will, first of all, no conversation is complete without AI, so I'm glad we did that. But I think it will help customers understand their credit score in a more thorough or a more detailed manner, because if you just say utilization mix, right, maybe the person doesn't understand. So it allows users to engage with the score they have received from the bureau, the CIBIL score, and enables them to understand it better. Then, like I said, simulators like what we have can become again more conversational, where you ask the question of, if now I have 3 rules, right? You just say prepayment or increase limit or whatever, but it can be a more conversation, which is fairly rigid and bound. But it can be a conversational thing, right? Where I'm going to borrow and what do you think I should do? And it's then a conversation with a friend, conveying the same insights and the same simulation, but in a manner that is far more natural for people. AI aside, I think a lot of initiatives, so I do know that CIBIL is doing a lot of work on the education side to take the score to markets and to help people understand on the ground level what it is. So that's something that we also do. Helping people engage with their score and have financial literacy and workshop and sessions to do that. And I think it's really an ecosystem where right through schooling, right through your employment, right, early college days through employment, and your ongoing engagement with financial services, making sure that your good behavior reflects in good outcomes for yourselves in terms of lower borrowing rate, and being able to correlate the two. See, sometimes you go on a diet and hopefully you lose weight, and then you correlate the behavior. So to be able to correlate your credit score to the outcomes that you get on financial transactions, that takes some experience, right? As you progress through your career, as you progress through your life journey, and you borrow. I think making those conversations more aware, making those conversations and testimonial surface, I think can create an ecosystem where CIBIL scores are more sort of understood by people and well utilized, better utilized by people.
Thanks, Bhargavi. That was really insightful, and I guess it's definitely sounds very promising and progressive. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. To wrap up today's episode, it is very evident that with innovation, strategic partnerships, and focus on awareness, we can make today's borrower more empowered with the financial journey. With these digital tools today, the borrowers can not only access their credit profile and track their credit profile, but it also helps them act wisely. And thereby, we aim to build a more credit confident India. Thank you all for tuning in. That was our initiative to help you know your CIBIL.